um, where you have come along to find out a little bit more about the Leadership Scholarship Programme from Culham St Gabriel's. Um, and I hope you've come along because you are considering applying for what we think is a really great programme. The intention of the next 57 minutes is to tell you a little bit about the programme. Um, but I think the most important bit is probably for you to hear from all the people that have either finished the program, the alumni. We've also got people who are on the program, so who are in year two of the program and year one of the program. And as well as that, we have one of our mentors here as well. Chris is here too. So you will get the chance to hear from all of those people. Um, One of the things that I will just quickly do is pop into the chat in a moment when I just get hold of my slides a moment, pop into the chat a couple of links that you might find useful. You have probably all seen these links before. But just a reminder that all the things that I am talking about, you can find on our Leadership Scholarship program page, including all the information about applying as well. So that's that link for you just to keep. The other link that I have just popped in there is a link to a podcast called the RE podcast that you may also find useful. We recorded an episode about 10 days, a couple of weeks ago now. And that has lots of people talking about the program with you. So I am going to share my screen now. So you should be able to see that. And I'm going to try and make it so I can see you as well. There we go. Perfect. I have all of you now. So can someone give me a bit of a nod to say that you can see the PowerPoint slides? Thank you. Nods, thumbs up, all of those things. Thank you very much. So, apologies if I am teaching my granny to suck eggs with any of this, but I think it's worth going through all of it. The first thing to say is my name's Fiona Moss and I work for Culham St Gabriel's now as the Education and Programmes Manager. And as part of my work, I oversee and look after this Leadership Scholarship Programme. But I didn't start out in this role. It used to be run by someone called Claire Clinton, but I was on the steering group for it. So it's something I've been involved in since the beginning of it. And it's something that I've always loved being involved with because it reminded me of things that people had done for me in my own career. So as I look back at my career, and there's a few years to look back, I can see the leaders who nurtured me and those leaders that still nurture me. Now they're still around, most of them. They're getting older, but they're still around. They're still in the world of RE. And what this program sets out to do is it seeks to bring together what many of us who are now involved in leadership in RE, in the RE community, have benefited from. And things we've benefited from ourselves. And I think some of those things are a little harder to get hold of than they were in the 1990s when I started teaching. And if anyone says to me they weren't born then, they won't get on the programme, just to be clear. That's just a new rule I've added. On this programme, you will be mentored, you will be challenged and encouraged to move out of your comfort zone. And that's all things that people did for me when I was teaching in the classroom and stepping out, still being in the classroom, but supporting schools near where I used to teach. It really helped me with new skills. I had people who helped me with that and understanding the complex world of RE, the complex world of religious and non-religious worldviews. So for me, when this program was put together, I really kind of saw bits of what had happened in an ad hoc manner to me when I was growing up professionally, shall we say, in the world of RE. So let's have a little think about leadership. I wonder how you define leadership. I wonder how, at the moment, you are leading RE outside of your own school. Do you want to pop into the chat something that you are doing that makes you think that you are leading RE outside your own school? So have a little think. Is there anything you're doing where you are leading RE? Outside of your own school. And then I'll work out what I've done with the chat. See it so I can see it. Aha, there it is. Brilliant. So someone's an IT mentor, helping to lead the local group, leading across a trust. Brilliant. Cross trust lead. Yep. Chairing the RE network, sitting on Sacre and organising events outside your own school. Brilliant. Thank you, Nina. Leading RE networks, plural. Uh, Doing workshops, working with Sacre. Oh, I like that one, Shabnam. Creating leaders within your own network. That's brilliant. So you're already kind of building those things. Oh, yes, Rianne, I remember those CPD sessions on curriculum conversations that started in, I think, the pandemic. So brilliant. Lovely to see those different things going on and popping those into the chat. Oh, thank you, Jenny. Yep, running online courses for an exam board. Yep, that would be another example. Oh, I missed one there. Coordinating Seek groups. Thank you, Beldeep. Welcome. Somebody's just arrived. You might just want to put your name in the chat so I know that you are here. That's great. Thank you for popping those different ways that you lead into the chat. And just a couple of quotes on leading there. So before you're a leader, success is about growing yourself. And when you are a leader, success is about growing others. So the person who just said that they're growing leaders, well done. That's brilliant. And we hope we enable you to do that on this program. Knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. At a rough guess, you're looking at these and thinking, oh, I'm not quite there yet. That's okay. That's what this program is all about. It's helping you find out more and develop yourself as a leader. Thank you for putting those things into the chat about how you're leading RE outside of your school. If you've just arrived, feel free to drop something into the chat. If you're busy doing something else at the same time, I quite understand that you can't do that. So let's get into what this program is. I'm going to talk a little bit about what the program is. Then you're going to hear from some people that are on the program. And I think that's probably the most valuable bit of tonight's session. And then there will be some space for questions as well. So if you've got any questions as we go along, you can throw them into the chat, but there will be some space for questions as we go along. So hopefully I popped that link into the chat earlier. You've already been onto the Culham St Gabriel's website and our scholarship pages for the leadership program. Everything you need is on that page, including all the details of how you apply. There's a participant booklet that's got lots and lots of details, including details that might be useful for your head teacher as well. So all the information is on that page. You'll also find this particular picture on there. And this shows you the 4 different areas that we try and support you to develop in as part of this program. So 4 different areas of leadership. Curriculum, classroom. They're the sides of this program that people usually, not always, but usually feel a little bit more confident in when they apply. So, you obviously are teaching children probably fairly regularly in your role or supporting others to do so. Um, and we're going to take you hopefully a step forward, showing you how to share effective practice with others, but also looking at evidence around good pedagogy in RE, RVE, RME. Curriculum engaged. It's a particularly exciting period of time in England to be involved in RE, as there are some national developments going on, and it's being looked at as to whether RE will be part of a national curriculum or not. So there are lots of professional conversations, and you will be able to have those as you go along. Maybe the people who are speaking later, who are in year one, might tell you what it feels like to be on the programme when some big changes like that are potentially happening. And again, it's about leading curriculum development within your own school or mat and perhaps beyond that. A really good example of this is Natalie. Natalie was part of our programme. She left a year ago. And if you go onto the RE Online website, you will see her blog that was up in January. And she talks about how she put together her curriculum across her mat. And she did that as part of her work in this programme. So classroom and curriculum engaged, people tend to feel a little bit more confident in. The two on the left-hand side, maybe you are very confident in these areas, tend to be the areas that people are a little less confident. And so we really support you on the programme. So you'll be part of a research community, the community of your year group, your cohort you'll be in a research reading group together, and in year two you will take part in a little researching practice project within your own school community or in some area of work that you are doing. So we'll be looking at those sorts of things. Politically engaged, I think the bit that usually most people have had nothing to do with or very little to do with, looking at the politics of change in a subject, looking at how you can make a difference, looking at how subjects get key stakeholders. That might be the government, it might be exam boards, it could be all sorts of different people locally to take notice. And you might think, surely that's got nothing to do with my role. I promise, as you start to lead outside of your classroom, you will see that might be very relevant to you. You will not be strong in all of those areas. So if you're looking at them and thinking, oh my good night, I know absolutely nothing about, that's okay. That's why you're coming on the programme. So don't worry about that at all. As you can see on the right hand side, you've got a mentor. You have one mentor in year one for 12 hours, not continuously. That's like 12 hours, one a month roughly. And a different mentor in your second year. So they support you in all of those areas and support you to grow in all of those areas. So overseeing the programme, there's a steering group, and that steering group is me, but it's not only me, it's other people as well. So you can see the other people we have got in that list that's just coming along there. You will notice, I hope, that they come from lots of different organisations in the RE world. And that's really important because although this is a Culham St Gabriel's programme, it is a programme that's actually put together and only works really because the whole RE community are involved in it. So you can see that from the National Association of Sacres and RE Hubs, that's Claire who works there. She's also involved in ARIAC. Angela Hill is the director of NATRE. We've got Ed Pawson, who's one of the RE Hub leads. He's also part of the REC. I forgot to put that in his list. We've got Stacey, another Hub lead. She's on ARIAC exec as well. We have got ARIAC, sorry, I should have said, the Association of RE Inspectors, Advisors and Consultants. And then Sean Whittle, who is from the Association of University Lecturers in Religion and Education. I hope I get a badge for these, getting these right at the end, because I have to concentrate to say them as well. And Chris McInnes, who is a trustee of Culham St Gabriel's, was also a secondary school teacher, is also involved working with the Church of England. So, as a steering group, they oversee the programme. They also run some of the communities of practice that we have during the 2 years that you are on the programme. And most importantly, in this context, they, alongside me, have the onerous job of deciding who can come onto the programme and who can't. And we need to be really clear about that. We will get more applications than we have spaces for. And can I tell you what? It's so lovely to see some people who applied last year on this session, because there have been several people on the programme who came along and were applied for the programme and got turned down in the first year, but we made some suggestions as to what they might do, and they came back and applied, and are now on the programme. One of them is nodding. He might say something about that later. And I think that says a lot about a person who is prepared to do that. So we won't be able to take all of you, but that doesn't mean that you can't be part of this programme in the future. And we will give you some feedback on the sorts of things that you might be able to do. This program is very much about two things. It is about enabling you to find your voice and also to become part of the community. And becoming part of that community, firstly, is the group that form your cohort. So the year one group, the year two group, as you go through. And again, perhaps when we've got some of the people chatting about what they've gained from the program, they might want to mention how much they get from the other people who are on the program with you. So all of what I've got on this next slide is on the website. So you've probably read through all of these details. I've already mentioned the mentoring. There are specific things you need to do, and some of these are mentioned here, but there will be a bespoke action plan that you and your mentor will put together at the beginning. So we have a tool that you go through where you answer some questions, and then you and your mentor work out what it is that you need to focus on. So there'll be some key things to do, but there'll be some things that are just for you to do. You can see that there's some e-learning that you will do. The e-learning on that we have on the Culham St Gabriel's website, but also there may be some different e-learning that you do as well. You can see that we meet up as a group. In year one, there is a face-to-face meeting in London in the autumn term. It's in November. I can't tell you which day exactly yet, except it's always a Friday, but I can't tell you which Friday because I've not booked it or put it in a diary yet. For everyone to come along to. And that's really important because I think it helps form the community, the fact that you have had a day together. And then you have 4 or 5 community of practice meetings through the year. You have one welcome one in September, and you have others that pick up on some key things, like andragogy in the first year, teaching teachers. We've got one specifically on leadership that's happening in a couple of weeks for the year one people. There are ones on research. So there are different ones that you focus on in both year one and in year two. And all of those meetings happen outside of school time. So they happen in twilight time, as we are today. So twilights and evenings. And that's where the virtual research reading groups happen as well, online in the evenings. So in your first year, you have a set of 5 of those. In your second year, you have 2 sets of 5. When you're in the first year, we get you membership of ARIAC, the Association of RE Inspectors, Advisors and Consultants. And there are other meetings that you can go along to from them as well. And there are other things that they offer for you. And ULRE, the Association of University Lecturers in Religion and Education. And just in case you're wondering, but I'm not a university lecturer, but they offer lots for those who are leading in RE as well. In year two, You get to shadow either your mentor or somebody else who it will be useful to shadow. You also do a small scale research practice project in your classroom, and we can talk about that nearer the time. And we ask you in both year one and year two to share what you've learned by writing. In year one, it's a blog. In year two, we hope it'll be something that is published in a piece on a piece of paper in a magazine or something like that, not just online. You get what I mean. And in year two, we also encourage you to present at a conference. Although if you're particularly keen, Neil Dunkoff, who is somewhere around this room, you'll do it in year one as well. And one or two other people have done that too. And that last line, be enthusiastic. We will support you and we will work with you to help you gain the experience that you need. So I've mentioned lots and lots of those outputs. I'm not going to read through all of those, but that's just to note the things that we will support you to do. At no point, we don't just give you a list and go, right, go get that sorted. You do it hand in hand with your mentor, which hopefully when you hear from the others in a few minutes, they will tell you a little bit more about that. We ask you to attend everything you can. So make provision for it in your diary. Don't book the theatre on the night that or the cinema or whatever else you do. However, if it's parents' evening, we get you can't move that. So if you have to not attend something because it is, say, parents' evening, we do understand, but we ask you to put all the dates in the diary and we give you all the dates when you get selected for the programme. So you'll be able to do that. There is a WhatsApp group that may fill you with dread or you may adore that. You don't have to answer here. There's a WhatsApp group whether you hate it or you love it. Neil loves it. I think he does anyway. It's one of the ways that community is formed, where people drop in ideas. When they're doing the research reading, they go, I don't understand what this word means. I've looked it up and it means this. And about the rest of the community go, oh, thank goodness you didn't understand what that word meant because I thought it was only me. Or they put kind of opportunities in there, or they offer advice to one another. It becomes a really warm group. I promise they generally don't put pictures of their tea in there. Don't prove me wrong now. I drop pictures of your tea in the groups tonight, everybody. And we ask you to report back, and there's a fairly simple reporting format at the end of each year for you. So that's year one, and then similarly in year two, you do lots of similar things. You've still got your mentoring, you've still got some different communities of practice, got that research reading group. And you can see you have some different things to do. And I think the big thing is that idea in year two, at the end of year two, you are presenting at a national conference, which will feel very scary right at the moment, but we absolutely help you with that and find places for you to speak. So we don't just send you away and go find a conference. So lots there about outputs, lots there about the expectations. Just a little point on costs. This may be something that's worrying you. The programme is almost totally paid for by Culham St Gabriel. So it's about £2,000 per person we are investing. That's because we're paying your mentors. They love it, but they don't completely do it for free. And the people who are running your communities of practice, that is all paid for. We also provide a small amount of money, up to £300, for attending a conference, a national conference at the end of year one and at the end of year two. £300 won't cover all the supply and all your travel and the conference fee, but it'll go a long way towards that. So we offer that for you. The one thing your school must pay for is for you to attend the face-to-face day in year one. They need to pay for the supply cover for you to be out of the classroom. If you need some travel costs for that, we can pay train fares or mileage for that if that's what you need. So that's one cost that your schools will have to pay, and hopefully they will give you something towards. If we give you £300 towards attending the conference, and they use that for supply, they might pay your travel, for instance, to get to the conference. We do also have a small pot of funds to cover some travel expenses. So I've mentioned the face-to-face day, and when you're shadowing as well, if you need to travel somewhere, we can pay something towards that, or maybe all of it. Depends where you're traveling to, really. If you're in, I don't know, Newcastle, and you choose to shadow someone in Plymouth, that might be more of a stretch. I know how much those train fares cost. So that's a little bit of an overview of the programme, but the thing that I think is most interesting is what's on my next slide. We're going to hear from some people talking about their experience of the programme. Whilst they're talking, if you've arrived and you haven't put your name into the chat box, if you could do that, just because at the end it means I can tick off who was here. So the people you're going to hear from are, first of all, we'll hear from our alumni. Fiona's going to speak first, and then we're going to hear from Azan. After you have heard from them, I'm telling you this now because I'm going to stop sharing the slides so you can actually see their faces. Then you're going to hear from Chris, who is one of our mentors. Then you're going to hear from Maddie and Neil, who are on year 2 of the programme. And then you are going to hear from John and Khadija, who are on year 1 of the programme. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So I see there's a question that's appeared before I introduce Fiona to speak. Ranjana, they are open to the 4 nations of the UK. If those were the countries you're referencing, if you're in Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, and I nearly forgot England, and England, then the programme is open to you. So we're going to start off then with Fiona. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you got out of this programme, Fiona?
Okay, so I decided to apply for the program in the first place because I had been for a long time working in a very small school as senior teacher and the RE lead, and also working for the diocese, running a network and supporting teachers, a bit of mentoring and supporting them with their RE. I just finished my MPQSL and was kind of thinking what is going to happen next and what do I want to do next. And I decided that actually I wanted to see what I could do with the RE and how I could develop the work that I had been doing within RE and not keep just adding it on as extra workload within the role I was already doing. So that's why I took it on. I found that the program really helped develop my confidence. I think that's one of the biggest things, that kind of gradual and building up of knowledge and taking your knowledge to a lot more depth allowed me to feel more confident in the things that I was already doing and to kind of extend them. So whereas before I was doing a network of teachers that were volunteering to come along, choosing to come along. Then I found that I was approaching schools in my area, running projects between the schools, inviting them to be involved in different things together, which was really an exciting thing that I hadn't necessarily thought about doing before. The most valuable part of the program, and it's not just because Chris is here, because he wasn't just my mentor, but was the mentoring. So Chris was one of my mentors. And the fact that I had over the 2 different years such different mentors, and that really it helps you have the confidence to ask a million questions, because I was in such a small setting, there aren't those people to ask. So I could ask both of them lots of different things over the 2 years, And you can ask something and next moment find that you're talking to somebody on the other side of the country who can answer that and give you a bit more knowledge. So that side of it, and that built into the getting to shadow both of them. I did shadow both, gave me um, a really good insight into all sorts of different things. Um, my journey since then, since I finished, so I've moved out of working in schools. I literally just started in January at Diocese of Norwich, Zari and Christian Distinctiveness Advisor, which is really exciting. It's a job that, as my head kept saying to everybody, she's leaving us for a dream job, and that is really true. And I really would encourage people to apply for it, really, because it's rather than it feeling like a really big additional workload, it's kind of a gradual building up in a really supportive way, in different areas that you want to develop your RE and your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. That's really helpful. And it is really new, her job, as she mentions. The funniest thing is, of course, she's now working. This won't happen to everybody. I want to make this clear. She is now working with the person who mentored her in the first year. That's the first person that we've had that's doing that, I think. But that is what she's doing. Thank you, Fiona. Azan was in the same year as Fiona. Don, do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yes, hi everyone. Apologies that I'm joining here from my phone. Possibly an indication of how much impact the program has had on me that I had to finish my day doing consultancy work, finishing a meeting, and now in between going home and so on. So, yeah, no, the leadership program was an amazing experience and really just helped me to develop a lot of different skills and opened up opportunities that I didn't really necessarily think were possible. When I first applied to the program, I was very much just a standard RE teacher, teaching my lessons in and out. And I had a sense that I wanted to do something a little bit more than that. And I didn't have any experience, and I still don't necessarily have any experience as a head of department, but I knew that I wanted to do something that allowed me to uh, have some sort of leadership or influence in the field of RE, and religion and worldviews. And I think very much the program gave me that opportunity. Um, as I said, when I first came into it, I kind of started as a regular RE teacher, but through the course of the program and taking part, I've now transitioned into a role where I'm working as a consultant, and I get to work alongside another amazing person in RE, Claire Clinton. And we work together on a number of different projects. So I'm leading, for example, currently a sixth form project in the London Borough of Camden, helping to develop public speakers in religion and worldviews. And they then go on to do speaking at schools, at primary schools and secondary schools. But yeah, getting to lead projects like that, for example, and a range of other things. So across the program as well, I also got the opportunity to publish an article in RE Today, which was really valuable, looking at work on oracy, which was very much the specialism that I developed through the program. And then I got to present that at a national conference at Strictly RE, which was really exciting. And then I got to speak at another national conference for ARIAC, talking about critical thinking, which is another area that I'm now moving my research towards. So very much across the 2 years, where especially in the first year, I felt very, I would say, unsure of myself. I felt as though I wasn't good enough for the program in some sense. I wasn't experienced enough. But I think the program helped me to develop, get past that mental barrier, and develop myself into a leader that is in my own fashion, if that makes sense. I think what I found most valuable about the program were probably a couple of different things, but certainly the mentoring was really wonderful. It gave me a lot of confidence and helped develop my kind of skills and just gave me those ideas for opportunities that I should reach out towards. So that I found really valuable. And also I found, I mean, one of my favorite things about the program was the reading groups. I know this isn't something that everybody necessarily shared, but I was always very interested in the academic aspects of the world of RE and engaging with that academic research. So having the opportunity to do that in the reading groups was really exciting for me because it helped me to develop new ideas and pathways for what I wanted to research. So I really enjoyed that as part of the program. In terms of where I'm going next, I've had a really kind of exciting opportunity to come forward, and I'm going to be going off to the United States in August as part of a Fulbright exchange program, teacher exchange program, where It's a kind of fully funded program to go over, scholarship to go over, and I'm doing a research project, and the research project actually comes directly links to the work that I did for the AREC conference, looking at critical thinking and in the age of AI and social media, and that has linked directly from the work that I've done on the leadership program, and is now being carried forward into this Fulbright Teacher Exchange. So, why you should consider applying? I think more than anything, it will help you to develop your career in ways that you didn't imagine were possible, and open up pathways and opportunities that you didn't even realize were there. So 100%, I recommend everybody applies.
Thank you, Hazan. I feel I have to offer a caveat, a bit like I did after Fiona. Not everybody will end up going to America for a term. Again, Hazan is the only person that we know that has done that. And not everyone, Hazan, you're still teaching, aren't you? Unless something's changed. You doing a bit of teaching as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
So
right. Yeah,
Hazan,
so consulting
he
and
didn't
teaching.
bother
Yeah.
mentioning that, but he
Sorry,
is still teaching.
completely forgot about that.
You didn't think it sounded exciting enough. But he's still teaching in a secondary school alongside doing all of these things. So we are not putting together the leadership program for you all to leave teaching, just to be clear. Especially don't tell your head teachers that. There's my piece of advice. Oh, yeah, we heard this great thing from this woman called Fiona, and she left her school and went to work on the other side of the country. You also don't all have to move house as part of this program. Azan, Fiona, thank you for showing us the difference that the program makes. They both left the program just over a year ago now, and you can see the changes that it has made for them. So perhaps if we go to a mentor now, so we're going to hear from Chris, as you gathered, who was Fiona's mentor in her first year. Can you tell us a little bit about the program from your point of view?
Yeah. So, hello everybody, I'm Chris, and until very recently, I was heavily involved in the RE world. And as you've now heard, Fiona has taken my job, not because I've done anything wrong, but I'm now the Diocesan Director of Education for the diocese that I work for. And Fiona applied along with some other people to take on that role. And I think the leadership program really helped and prepared her for that. So a mentor role is a real privilege to have in this program. It's a lovely role to have because you grow the person from sometimes a place of lacking in confidence or understanding of the wider RE world to somebody at the end of the first year, because I tend to mentor first years, into something totally different, somebody who's confident, more in touch with what's going on in the RE world, and has been given lots of opportunities to stretch their own thoughts, to challenge themselves and to apply themselves in different contexts. I think key to the mentor part of the program is the relationship you build with your mentor from day one. I would say if it's the most honest, open, and supportive relationship you would want to have in your profession, it allows you to be in a safe space and ask anything you want around your subject. I used to sit and talk to Fiona frequently with my bookshelf behind me, dragging books off, saying, have you read this one? Have you looked at this one? Have you thought about this? It's an opportunity to share lots of really lovely stuff together and just go on a journey together that you both shape. So Fiona mentioned we do like an audit tool at the start of year one in the leadership program, and that is really helps us inform the action plan we write for you, and we do it together with you, and it is really bespoke to your needs and what you would like to explore and challenge yourself on. And it usually, as Fiona said, it's usually around research or that political aspect, and people panic, and it's like, well, have you been to a SACRE meeting before, or have you joined an ARIAC meeting where you might influence policy or practice in a regional level? So we also have a way to connect you into the wider community in your region or nationally that allows you that exposure, and again in a really safe way, to that wider experience of RE leadership. I think also the journey that you go on allows you to become really self-reflective, and your mentor helps you think about who you are in your practice and how you to grow that, and the aspirations you have. hopefully we all come from a wide background in RE, so we can connect you to the right people, and that's really important in helping you become what you want to find out and want to be as well. So, my background, I was an RE Hubs lead, I was an RE advisor, I was a REQM assessor, I was a Symes inspector for the Church of England. I did loads of stuff in the RE world, so I could pull on people from all corners of the country to do that sort of linking up with my mentee as well. And that's really helpful because it saves you having to trawl and do some of that stuff. We can pop you into a Sacre meeting in another part of the country or an ARIAC meeting and introduce you to those people really easily, which just saves you some of that anxiety and time as well. But I think the biggest thing is we help you find your space in the RE world as well as your voice. And different people have different voices and different spaces. Some of you will be loud and amplify and broadcast RE in a certain way, and others will quietly get on and do research and work in a different way. That's absolutely fine. This program allows you to find your voice and your space in the RE world, which I think is really important. And it's an absolute delight. I've done it for 3 years, and I love doing the role because it reminds me of when I was a primary school teacher, particularly in year 3, and my children would arrive as infants and leave as juniors. And I feel year 1, you arrive as a very fresh person, and by the end of the year, you're forming into a new RE leader, which is lovely to see that journey. And then some of you, I catch up with, like Fiona when she came to shadow me, and then I give her a job. So it does happen. You can end up in lots of different places. But yeah, hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight.
Thank you so much, Chris. I think one of the things you said towards the end there, particularly important, you find your space. Your space might not be going off. I can say this is gone now. Azan going to America has surprised us all. Not because it's like, Azan, you're going to America, but it's like nobody thought that was going to happen. And he will come back and he will go back to his school. He's only got a term off his school, I hasten to add. And Fiona getting a job outside of the classroom, that is not everybody. Lots and lots of people find a space leading across a mat or leading outside of their own school and build on what you are already doing. So don't look at it and kind of go, oh my goodness, I am not that person. Well, I really hope you're not, because we don't need anyone who is identical to the people you're hearing here. It's about developing you as a person. And as Chris described, I think that first year relationship with your mentor becomes really, really important, and you begin to develop and work out who you want to be as a leader. I was Azan's mentor in the first year, and he didn't know who he wanted to be and what he wanted to do. And it was something he really worked out in the 2 years of this program. Thank you very much, Chris. We have lots of other lovely mentors like Chris. And I think one of the things I found, I was a mentor on this program. This is the first year I've not mentored on this program. And I miss it, I have to say. As a mentor, you gain almost as much as the person you are mentoring from that relationship. It really is a very, very positive relationship. Okay, let's chat to some people who are on the program at the moment. So I take my life in my hands by asking them to speak. They could give away all of the secrets of the program, if indeed there are any. So we're going to go to some people who are in year 2 of the program, so about a year and a half through the program. I think we're starting off with Maddie. Is it you first? I think it is.
Yeah. So I'm going to confirm Fiona's point that this course has not led me to leave the country, nor seek a new job. But the course has definitely shifted my kind of perspective as a leader and really helped me develop within my role. So for context, I'm a trust lead across multi-academy trust, leading on RE. And in terms of what I find most useful about the program, I think it's having that subject-specific mentorship. Um, so I feel like quite early on within teaching, mentorship or support might feel quite intense. So if I think about my like ITT year or my NQT year, I felt like I had quite a lot of support. And then after that, it kind of feels like you're just chucked in at the deep end and left to it. And quite early on within my career, I gained different leadership roles. And I very much felt like I was just left to kind of find my own way as a leader and develop myself. And so what I've really liked about this course is having those two. I've had two very different mentors from year one to year two, and I've really enjoyed kind of the expertise that I've gained from them and being able to have that kind of sounding board. To yeah, kind of share these are the current things that I'm facing in my leadership role, and kind of work through those problems with them. What I seemed to find was that a lot of my friends outside of education work within healthcare, and they were all talking about, oh, I've got my clinical supervisor, and they all seem to have this kind of mentor or more experienced member of staff. And I felt like quite early on in my career, I was lacking that. So I've really enjoyed that bit of the program. Um, Alongside that, I really feel like the networking has been immense. So in terms of like my personal journey, I've worked within the same school to begin with for the first 5 years, and then for the 5 years after that within the same trust. It's felt quite insular. A lot of the people have worked there for a long time, haven't left, not much movement. Some people even went to school there. Um, I'm in an area where there's not very active RE hubs or not a very active Sacre group. So again, it felt like lots of the ideas were just kind of from within the trust. Whereas now, through the program, I've got a community of peers in the RE world across the country. Like Fiona said, that I can just message within the WhatsApp group. And alongside that, my mentors have connected me with people in the RE world that I never would have been able to connect with before, which has been amazing. Um, and like Fiona said earlier, I think the program's really helped me grow in confidence to realise some of the great things that I'm already doing, and to also give me confidence to push the boundaries and try some new things that I maybe wouldn't have without that mentorship. In terms of what I'm looking forward to in the program, so like Fiona says, I'm kind of a year and a half in now, I'm coming towards the end, but I'm still really enjoying the reading group. So like Azan said, it's maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but I really enjoyed it. I think sometimes kind of being at the coalface of like day-to-day teaching, which I do still do, quite a lot of the time you can kind of get sucked into that. And I feel like I've become quite detached from kind of education research and what's happening and is there any evidence base for these things that we're going to try in the classroom. And so I've really enjoyed, um, I won't use the word forced, but the program has made me re-engage with reading and a bit like a seminar, discuss that with the people in my year group, which has been great. And I think without the program, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have had the motivation myself. I'm also really looking forward to the conference in June. So hearing from the people that are in my year group, kind of their action research project that they've been working on, and yeah, hearing them and seeing them all speak nationally will be great. Why I think you should consider applying, I think it will push you to do things that you wouldn't normally consider doing, and I think it will open doors that you wouldn't expect. So I had the privilege last year of kind of being a fly on the wall at some RE policy unit meetings, and to gain a real insight and understanding into kind of what's happening in the background politically, the things that people are doing within the RE community to champion us. Yeah, that was really, really invaluable experience.
Thank you very much, Maddie. Moving on from Maddie, Neil's experience and context quite different to Maddie's. Do you want to tell us a little bit more, Neil?
Yeah, I'll start with the context. So, I work in a special school in Cheshire. Main focus is on people with autism and related types of learning difficulties. So I've been there 15 years now. When I started, RE definitely wasn't my specialism. I was business and finance, and like a lot of special needs teachers, you end up teaching right across the whole school curriculum. So I was approached by the head 6 months into my teaching there and got asked, would I take on RE? And I remember the conversation quite distinctly with him, even though it was so long ago. And the statement we came up with was, don't know anything about RE, don't remember RE much apart from what I did at secondary school. And I remember the conversation with him along the lines of, well, it's a go for it school, so why don't you just go for it? And that's what happened. I took on the lead for RE. Very lucky to access a brand new RE hub in our area that was just starting, and was able to use that to ensure I was setting up the department correctly and running it properly as a leader. That led to the RE Quality Mark and getting an award from the RE Quality Mark. Then I eventually got asked whether I would take on leading the hub group. At the time, I did all those sorts of things, but in the back of my mind, there was a feeling that I still wasn't an RE specialist, yet I was doing all these things. It was kind of a bit of an imposter syndrome. So I think when I come in to join this program, I think that's what I've got out of it the most, is the realization fairly early on, and I would say the key point was at the November face-to-face meeting, where it kind of started to disappear, that feeling, and I did realize that over the years I had become an RE specialist. And that was down to meeting new peers, working with my mentor. So it kind of given me that confidence and that boost that actually I can talk about it. And more importantly, people actually want to listen to what I've got to say about RE, and especially in an SEN context. And I think that's been really formative to what I'm doing now, and how it's been mentioned about finding your voice. And I think that's happened. I've found my voice. I will shout out quite a lot about SEN and RE. Simply, why would you apply for the course? Why not? It's the best CPD I've ever done in 15 years. And just to confirm, Fiona hasn't paid me to say that.
No, I haven't. And I know Neil won't mind me saying, he's one of the people that applied once, didn't get on, and applied again. So persistence, and he really is finding his voice and opportunities he's had along the way. I mean, he's writing a chapter for a book, for heaven's sake. I think he's pleased about that. Thank you very much, Neil. So our final two speakers, we've got John and then Khadija. So the view from year one, John.
Oh yes, thank you very much. Right, so I'm the chair of Norfolk Sacre. I've done curriculum writing in the past. I've been part of the REC handbook bid from Inspiration Trust. I've done loads and loads of things, and all of them have been kind of amazing. But I've always kind of, maybe similar to some of the people that have also spoken, that I thought I didn't know exactly which direction I wanted to go in, and so the course was just so attractive to me, because I thought, I need that kind of mentorship, and I need that kind of guidance, I think, just to let me know kind of what's out there, I suppose, because where I teach, I'm kind of, because I lead RE across a federation of community schools, so I'm kind of the guy that people come to with questions about RE, and because of my connections with other people that I've made, because I've been kicking around and doing this for quite a long time, I'm always kind of the person that can give the answers, but then I sort of suddenly thought I don't have any answers for the questions I have. And so I think it was kind of me thinking, actually, I need to go and do something about that. So something I found really unbelievably useful was, I'm kind of in the WhatsApp group and in the in-person meeting in London, really loved just being able to kind of just ask some stupid questions, actually, I think, and because I think when you're the chair of the Sacre, people are like, oh, you must know what you're talking about. I definitely don't. And so it's really nice to meet other people that are kind of more active and maybe more involved in their Sacres, and so kind of helping me hopefully kind of formulate a plan for what Sacre, the Norfolk Sacre is going to do next, but also what I'm going to do in my federation next as well. The stuff that we were looking at actually on the in the in-person meeting as well, we were kind of picking apart the curriculum review, which was just wonderful to be in the company of people that really knew what they were talking about. It was a very humbling experience, I think, actually, as well, because it was nice to, I kind of listen to people and be like, oh wow, yeah, I didn't even think about that. So that was really lovely. And I think some of the stuff I'm looking forward to, I'm really looking forward to the conferences. There's the ARIAC membership has been really useful. I've gone to everything that they have sent out to me and been able to ask questions about that as well. And of course, there's so much output at the moment because of the curriculum review. So that's happening all the time, and it's really, really interesting. And I think it's kind of pushing me towards some of the stuff that I haven't really been involved in before. So I've been very curriculum involved and engaged. And of course, I've been in the classroom for many, many years now. But yeah, it's the politics stuff I think it's kind of scary, but also something that I'm really, really interested in. I'm really interested in the future of RE. So yeah, I've been really loving that, and having those mentor meetings to be able to ask those stupid questions, and to be able to kind of write a blog and then send it off to Ed Pawson to get his thoughts on it, so that I don't have to kind of do this stuff alone, I suppose. And then one last thing, I suppose, about why apply. I think the RE community, we talk about the RE community, but it really is an actual thing. And I think that's the thing that's really lovely about it. It's not one of those things that people say. It's massive, and the place is full of people that are really ready to help you. And I think I've always known that, but it's lovely to see that that's kind of expanded even across the country. So there you are.
Thank you, John. That's great. Khadija, we've only got 1 minute. Can you share a few, and then I'm going to make us overrun and go and do 2 or 3 minutes at the end and give you space for questions. Khadija, what would you like to share?
What I found for me the most powerful about this the leadership scholarship program is that it genuinely changes how you see yourself as a leader. It creates rare spaces which are really valuable for you to genuinely just step away from what you're doing every day and just think about where you want to go next, where you really want to take your next step forward. And I think when you're at work and you're just stuck in your day to day, you really for some reason just forget about what you want to do and what impact you want to have as a leader, what you really want to do and put out for others. And you don't get that chance to reflect. And having a bespoke mentoring has really been the standout part of the program for me, because being paired with someone who's experienced, gives me another pair of eyes. It looks at what I'm doing and tells me, really just unpicks what it is I'm doing right, and unpacks what's working, why it's working, and how I can really take it forward and make it work even more for me. The coaching conversations have helped me slow down, reflect, think about what I'm doing, and strategically plan for what my next steps are. It's also put me in rooms that I don't think I would have been in. And I think until you really get onto this program, you don't realize who else is out there. You're kind of stuck in your own little bubble, if that makes sense. Like, you're in school constantly. You don't really realize people that you didn't even know existed, and then all of a sudden you do, and you're just in these spaces and where you're like, actually, I'd love to do that, and wow, that's inspirational, and oh, I'd like to have a go at that. And I think that as well has been really valuable. Just everyone's spoken so highly about it, but the community that it really builds around you and supports you in order to take your next stepping stones, I think. So looking ahead, I'm actually really excited. Listening to everyone else speak, I'm really excited in seeing what I'm going to do. I don't know about you, but I was just like, ooh, what am I going to do next? I was listening to Azan, I was listening to Fiona, I was listening to Chris, who was working with her now. I was listening to everyone, and I was just thinking, what is it that I'm going to do this? Where am I going to take this? So I'm actually even more excited just by being at this meeting, because I know where I'm going to end up is going to be somewhere probably completely unexpected, but definitely a step in the right direction. And I would wholeheartedly really, really push anyone who was thinking to apply.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Khadija. Thank you, everybody, for speaking. That's the bit that you needed to hear. You needed to hear their voices because they're the people who are doing the program. So, some last thoughts from me. Everything you need is on our website. I have already put the link in there, but you go to the Culham St Gabriel's website, you go to the scholarships drop down and the leadership bit there, and everything is on there. The participant booklet with lots and lots of details. You can click through to the application form and the other forms you need to fill in. And you're going to send those by Friday, the 27th of March at 4 p.m. There's an application form and you have to record a short, less than 2 minutes, film about what excites you about potentially being on the Leadership Scholarship Programme and how it fits with your journey. Now, when I say film, I don't think you need to be Steven Spielberg. In fact, I really hope you're not. Use one of these, hold it like this. We are not judging you to say, oh my goodness, looking at the cinematography on that will have them. That's not what it's about. We just want to offer you something different to writing, because some people excel when they write, some people excel and exude their enthusiasm when they talk. And don't worry, you never have to look at the little film you make. Only we have to look at it. So it's all right. We're not going to publish it anywhere. You need to get your head teacher's approval. There's a form for that. Make sure you send that in as well. You need a reference, just one. It is a competitive process. There are 10 places, and not everyone makes it, remember, with their first application. So that leads us to, have you got any questions? And I know we've slightly overrun. So are there any burning questions? Stick your hand up, stick them in the chat, any of those things. I'm going to stop the recording in case you want to ask something without everybody who's listening to the recording